Hello and welcome to BBC News. Storm Éowyn has brought potentially life-threatening winds to Ireland and the UK, with the loss of power and services and the closure of schools, rail, ferries, roads and transport hubs.
Break my heart and leave me hurt. The next one just gon' do me worse. So if they all no good, I'll just be bad with you. Cause my mother told me as a child, boy, don't play around with fire, cause you might just end up getting burned. And I know the wicked never rest, so I always try my best. But there's some lessons hard for me to learn. Like good boys don't play with bad girls.
Welcome back to this week's video. As you probably recognise, we're not in Scotland anymore. We're back in Cornwall, and tonight I've got a new bit of equipment that I've been wanting for a long time, right? So I've always watched outdoorsy videos, always been interested in that sort of outdoor cooking kind of stuff. So I've got one myself, one of those little tripods to go over a fire pit. So tonight we're going to cook up a campfire meal, which I'm very excited about. I'm hoping the weather's going to play ball. There is blue sky over there, but it's forecasting rain in the next hour. So I've parked with the van blocking the wind, and then hopefully we can put the awning off the side, which will give us a bit more versatility if it does rain. So it's time to set up camp. So I think it's been a while since I've kind of done one of these, which is just a very chilled kind of, it's just me tonight, Jess isn't here, she's fine, she's with family, but for you guys, I guess Scotland's probably looked like it's been quite a long trip, because that'll be, by the time this is out, it'll be spread over sort of 5 videos, whereas realistically for us it was a week, which we were very grateful for. And obviously we mentioned in the video that there'd been some bad news. Unfortunately, Jess had lost a family member, and it was someone that she was very, very close to. So that kind of made us question exactly, I mean, to be fair, we were both very, very close to them. So it made us both question what we wanted to do as far as the trip. So obviously, as many of you saw, if you follow us on Instagram, it took us 12 hours and I think 45 minutes to get up there. So it's not a short trip for us to get to Scotland. We are right down on the bottom of Cornwall. Like, I am on the very south at the minute. So for us to get all the way up there, it's a long old thing. And I mean, to give you an idea, the fuel for the trip, we're only there for a week. It was £700 just to take this up for a week. Granted, we did quite a lot of driving around while we were there, because we were with Jack and Mel, who you guys obviously saw quite a lot of. So yeah, it was kind of, we didn't know what to do really. But Jess's family said that there's not a lot that we could do if we came back, because it was sort of that middle ground period. So Jess made the decision to stay up and stay in Scotland. So we stayed up for I think 2 or 3 days after we found out New Year's Eve. So that was why the footage at the pub was a little bit cobbled together of other people's footage, because we'd got the call before New Year kind of cut in, and yeah, it just turned into a bit of a fiasco trying to get that video finished. In the end, we stayed up there another 3 days, I think, and I'm very glad we did, because we met back up with Jack and Mel, which, to be honest, travelling with people after we'd found out the news, I think really helped, because it kept us busier. So from that point of view, it was a real nice sort of change of pace for a faster pace, but it worked well for what we wanted at the time. But yeah, I must say though, after being back, I feel like we came back straight back to obviously all that family stuff and all that, and then it's been very much supporting Jess's family, and we just haven't stopped really since we got back. And this is the first night I've had an opportunity realistically, with other stuff going on. Like, I've got stuff going on with my family at the minute. They're sort of busy with other things going on for them. They're sort of planning to move, so getting ready to move house, and then obviously Jess's family stuff, and then trying to have time for me and Jess. I think we're about, well, what we today is January 23rd, something like that. So we're a few weeks after getting back now. So just trying to settle back in. Obviously this will be our first video back in Cornwall, and we've got a nice little thing going on in the background, which is just, it's very nice and chilled, which, to be honest, after being back to work and coming back with a bit of a bump, I'm very happy with, just to try and chill out a little bit. But yeah, trying to think of things to update you on, because it feels like a while since I've sat and done anything in front of the camera. As far as travel plans for this year, we've got a trip to Wales coming up, which will be March, and then we've got a trip to sort of Somerset area, because Tilly and Calvin are getting married, so I'm going to go up and photograph that for them, as well as very graciously been invited. But yeah, so I'm going to go up and play wedding photographer for the day. But other than that, we don't really have a lot planned. I mean, there's things going on in the background. We're trying to sort out something as far as future plans and a property and all that kind of stuff, but we're not really going at it in the conventional manner, as we don't really do anything conventionally, like, you know, Arctic. But yeah, so that's taking time. I'm sure if you read between the lines, you'll understand what's going on with that. Like I say, with travel plans, I don't know if we've really got anything else planned. Playing it very loose. I think this year, obviously if you've been following us on Instagram, you'll know that I put a post up the other day, and this sort of still applies, basically saying that we were looking for a small van. Now, that's not to replace this one, that's to replace Jess's Mini, because many of you pointed out it's too small, and after you've had something like this, to go to a roof tent is just, no, I'm not doing it. So, after following Jack and Mel around, and yes, it is also slightly my impulse, or lack of impulse control, that means I'm kind of interested in a little van. Because obviously, as I just said, going up to Scotland, this cost a lot in fuel, whereas if we had something small, it could sit at sort of 70 mile an hour once you get off the A30 from our way, and yeah, cruise control, all the rest of it. This is a fairly base model van, so you've got no cruise, and it's, even though it's just been mapped, a fair lack of power, realistically. So yeah, that's sort of something that I'm playing with at the minute, on top of everything else. And then the other thing that we're planning is, because we're trying to sort out something with the property, I want something, so I think we both want something really, that realistically, while I'm trying not to give away entirely what we're doing, we want something that we can move into. So I want something a bit bigger than this, not dramatically bigger, but I'm looking at a Sprinter crew cab as a base vehicle. Sorry, I keep looking behind me because I keep hearing noises. I'm looking at a Sprinter crew cab as a base vehicle. Probably older rather than newer, purely because as someone that works on their own vehicles, having DPFs, EGR, AdBlue, all the rest of it doesn't appeal to me in the slightest. So the more of that I can do away with, the better in my mind. So yeah, something sort of Jordan Annalise, Steps to Adventure kind of age, sort of like a, I don't know, 2005 front end to 11. One with the more roundy headlights. The style doesn't bother me, and if I ever wanted to upgrade to the newer shape, like Jess and John's front end in Sainsbury's van, then I could do that. But yeah, so we're looking for a crew cab Sprinter that we can take the bed off the back, do a fridge van build. We saw the benefits of this when we were in the Arctic with Jess and John's. I honestly couldn't believe how little their diesel heater ran compared to ours. The thermal efficiency of that box is undeniable in my mind after experiencing matching conditions with the vehicles that were both prepped. And we went above and beyond to insulate the ever-living shit out of this van. There is things stuffed into holes that I don't even know if I could get back out. I just kept ramming things in with rods and everything else. So it is proper insulated as our van. But the Sainsbury's box, the floor was so much warmer. Obviously, Alex, Mr. Pronounced Adventures, he's shown before where he's left his boots on the floor and it freezes to the floor. We've left bottles of water on the floor and they've frozen. So yeah, it's kind of undeniable. And I think someone needs to build one to look like this does on the outside. There's one chap, or one couple that I've found, I think they're in Germany or Switzerland, I can't remember, but they've done one. I'll put a picture on screen here, and for me that looks fantastic, but I'd want a bigger box than that. Theirs is 4x4, ours will not be 4x4, purely just because of the cost of 4x4 chassis at the minute. They are absolutely mental, and to be honest, if you go for the older shape front end, it's possible to 4x4 convert it yourself with, I'd say, probably less than 5 to 8 grand, depending how you source parts and what parts you use. So that's something that I think I'll be considering in the very long term. However, a rear wheel drive van with an LSD in the back, which I believe Sprinters have, or some of them have, you can correct me if I'm wrong on this, but from seeing some of them off-road, I'm going to assume they must have an LSD in them. So that's kind of my thought process with that. Obviously, if we get the little van, that allows us to sell this, doesn't replace this, but it allows us to then make content with the little van while we then search for the replacement for Norm. And this next van will be the plans I have for it are inside and out incredibly extensive. So it's one to watch out for if we do, or I say when we do that build, because it will be happening at some point. So yeah, that's kind of what our plans are for this year, I think. Probably quite small trips, trying to keep costs down. Again, obviously, everyone knows house prices, and being in Cornwall, those house prices seem quite similar to some parts of London. So I think the average house price in where we're hoping to be is something like 700 or 800,000. Obviously, we are nowhere even remotely close to that in what we're sort of hoping to do. But there's a lot of hoops that we're currently trying to jump through to figure out our way through with that one. And yeah, so house update, van update. I think that's kind of it. I'm looking forward to trying out this. I've never done this before. This is a first time ever cooking like a proper stew over the fire. I'm quickly realising how hot cast irons pans get, because that's what that is, and how awkward it is to actually manoeuvre that pan on and off when all you have is 2 microfibres and 2 semi-decent tea towels. I've already burnt my hand once on my little finger, which now stings like hell every time I put my hand in to do anything. But I think we're getting towards probably being done. Well, I'll be honest, that is a perfectly cooked stew on the campfire with a little bit of Thistley Cross in it to help season, and as a first attempt, I couldn't be happier. So I'm going to watch the sea and the stars come out and eat my stew. That is good. So I've just noticed the wind starting picking up a little bit, ironically after what I said earlier. I've just packed the awning away, so that's all done, and now it started raining. It felt like the weather was starting to turn, so considering I'd done everything that I needed to do out here and we'd sat out, and it's now 9 o'clock. Considering I've been out here this long, I thought before the rain comes, I'll just pack it away. The rain is 3 hours late, so it's allowed me to get everything that I wanted to get done, and it's allowed me to just chill out. So yeah, we're just letting the last of the fire burn down, and then we have to sort out that mess. So I'm going to jump in the van, have a bit of a tidy up, edit some photos, and I might put a bit of YouTube on or something like that. So yeah, but I'm going to put that out first. I should probably explain where I am. This is a place called Porthkerris. Now, this is known for diving. There's a lot of shipwrecks and generally just a lot of marine life off this part of the coast. So yeah, there's a Porthkerris divers. You come down here, you can do all certifications, you can do all sorts. But obviously the main reason I'm here is the fact this is technically a campsite. You wouldn't know it to look at. There's no beautifully manicured grass pitches. There's no signs, there's no electric hookups in this ground area. There is at the top of the cliff. So if you want more of a view and less of rocky stuff, there is a nice manicured field at the top. I opted for this. Now, in some of the footage, you may have heard a little hum in the background, and that's because there is a factory right there. Now, that is, if anyone's eaten in not necessarily fancy restaurants, but like slightly nice restaurants, or just been to a fancy Cornish shop or anything like that, Cornish sea salt. I believe this is where they actually process and collect the sea salt, and then it gets shipped off to restaurants, etc. So yeah, that's kind of where we are. There is a factory there, but obviously around here, that's looking at Falmouth directly over there, St Mawes, and sort of the headland, Pendennis headland over there, to give you sort of a geographical idea of where we are. But it's a very sort of barren, old quarry landscape, which is just cool. Now, in winter, I believe the gate gets closed at 6 p.m, reopened at 8 a.m. It's not technically open. It's done on a honesty box policy. So I think it's £20 for the night, and then you can basically just come and pitch. Now, there's nobody here. I am the only person that stayed here last night. I really like this place. There's nothing else like this place, and Cornwall being Cornwall, they don't like campervans, even though it's sold as the whole run to the sun and all that sort of crap with the Volkswagens. Everybody hates it, even though there's nobody here in the winter. So yeah, Scotland was a breath of fresh air for us, but you sort of down here just have to go, screw it, if I get moved on, I get moved on. If you want to come down and have campfires, you want to go, I mean, the other thing as well, so worth noting, facilities here, there is toilet and shower block, which is pristine. I haven't used them because obviously we have everything we need in the van. And you can do all the diving here. You can go fishing here, so I think fishing is £5. So if you want to come camp and fish, it's 25 quid. Slightly on the steep side, I know, with no electric, but then look at where you are. There's not a lot of campsites that can offer this sort of thing. There's a lot to do here. One video I'd love to do, now with the way the world's going, I don't know if everybody is going to be interested in this, and if you're not, that's your own prerogative, I understand that, but some people might be. I enjoy fishing, so if any of you are interested in a catch, process, cook over campfire, let us know, because I really want to do it. I might do it anyway. So everything I said earlier about the fact that you could stay here out of season, the gate shuts and opens at a certain time, is completely wrong. I had a chap come over a few minutes ago and informed me that basically they're shut till April, but I paid, so he wasn't too bothered. He was just like, yeah, we're not open, the facilities aren't open. So you're still allowed to come down here during the day. Day parking down here, you can do whatever you want, and fishing down here also not a problem. It's just the overnighting because the facilities aren't open. So I informed him that I have facilities and I don't need anything like that because of our van, and he's like, okay, cool, that's fine, but yeah, we're still shut. So he wasn't funny about it. He was perfectly nice. Young guy came over, and you could tell he didn't really want to be doing that, but yeah, he's absolutely fine. So yeah, just worth bearing in mind, it doesn't actually open until the 1st of April for overnighting. So I'm not going to go in swimming because I don't know if you can tell, but down there is where all the crap has washed into. So we're obviously getting wind blowing rubbish round the coast. So there's lots of brown water, and obviously we've had quite a lot of rain. So yeah, that doesn't look the most inviting. What I will show you though is once you drive through here, which is the way out, there's a beach over there, so we'll go over there and have a bit of a look around. this is Porthkerris Beach. Now, as you'll have seen on the drone, it's quite pretty. I mean, it's very sort of pebbly, there's no sand, but you've got all of this around here. Now again, you can launch kayaks and stuff. So going out and exploring some of that is something we'd quite like to do. When I was talking about like last night about the little van, obviously that we're going to struggle to get kayaks on the top of and do. So yeah, it's things like this we'd love to come and explore, but this beach is lovely and it's generally very quiet in the summer as well, because you have to pay to park, or sort of pay to come here. It's £5, but £5 for the entire day. And they've got a cafe up there, they've got a shop that sells everything from fishing gear to diving gear to everything really. The other thing you've got, now I don't know if you can just see, peeking out above that rock, you've seen it on drone footage. So that was used as a missile testing station. So what they used to do was fire rockets out, or missiles out across the sea, and they'd measure how they dropped and how they reacted in the air aerodynamically. Interestingly, someone that Jess's dad knows from when they were kids, or sort of teens, rocking about on bikes, and funnily enough, I know from where I used to work, used to actually work there when it was a missile testing station, because he got in with the military, don't know which form of military, but yeah, got in there and was testing out missiles, which is very cool. So yeah, all across this bay, they'd fire out from that building there, and they'd fire out into the sea. If they had issues with a new missile or anything like that, all got tested. Not for everything, but it certainly got tested. So it'd be real interesting to actually see if stuff that didn't explode is still out there. I imagine there's probably a hell of a lot of stuff still in the water. It's a really interesting place. It's got a lot of history. Obviously, like I said, the Cornish Sea Salt Company is just around the corner. You can see the boat there. That's what they go out with in the summer. So that's what all the dives run from. And then there's a little boat up the top as well. But yeah, no camping overnight, which is interesting. But yeah, the guy was perfectly all right about it. It was just a learning curve. But I will say, if you come and swim here, be careful, because there's a lot of shelves on the beach. Obviously, you can see the tide line is here, all along where the seaweed is. And you've got that shelf there, which probably doesn't come across on camera, but I'm level with that rock there. I'm just under 6 foot. So the van is probably a good 15-20 foot above me at this point. You're sort of looking up at it like that. And then the beach still drops further down there. So you've sort of got multiple shelves. I'm stood in the middle of one, because sometimes the sea comes up to there. So you can see 2 different tide lines along. So yeah, just be careful. There's a slip over that way near the testing building. Just for clarity, you can't explore that building. It is completely fenced off and you can't get in. So just, yeah, don't even try. Don't be that person. But no, it's a great place. You can come, you can do what you want. You can have fires like we had last night. Just make sure when you come it's actually open, which is a good one. So I'm just going to try and get back up this, which is probably going to be very interesting, because it's steep shale which likes to disappear underfoot. Ooh. No, that didn't go very well. It's every time you try and step, it falls away. Slowly getting there. And we're back up. You see the mess I just made trying to get up. But yeah, that was hard work. That's where I'm going to leave it for this week. I know this isn't our normal video, but it's just something that I felt like I need to do. I just need a bit of a chilled night. Nice and quiet, campfire, and just enjoy it. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.